I'm going to talk to you about why boredom is so essential. What has happened in the past 4 months? We have been stuck at home, not of our own choosing. We've been stuck because there's a pandemic out there, there's a lockdown that has been announced. Every day has been Russian doll, Groundhog Day, whatever you call it. It's been looping. One day has been looping into the other. And what have we been doing through this all? Dalgona coffee, anyone? Banana bread? Coursera? Harvard Open University courses? We've been packing our days non-stop with stuff to fill the void that we're feeling because we are stuck in this loop, this time loop of everything being similar, every day being similar. So I'm ashamed to say that I haven't baked banana bread, nor have I made dalgona coffee. So am I even doing this pandemic right? I wonder at some point. But to get back to it, to get back to the lockdown, what it has been doing, it has been throwing boredom at us. We've been working, we've been overworking at time, but the repetitiveness of our days is making it boring. Does that remind you of something? It definitely reminds me of my childhood when we had summer vacations. And every day back then was the same. There were these long, interminable, unending summer days, hot as hell. You couldn't go out. You couldn't do anything. You were stuck at home. What did you do? You turned to creativity. I think the most creative we got was during our summer vacations because we were drawing, we were painting, we were writing stories, we were putting up plays, we were making a mess of the bed sheets and curtains in the house. We were turning inside. I think the most creative I got, the most writing I did was during my summer vacations. And I think any parent will tell you that a bored child is a creative child. So why are we so terrified of getting bored? What is it? What have we lost along the way? What is it about boredom that terrifies us? Is it the fact that we are uncomfortable with our own company? That we are uncomfortable with getting into our own heads? What has changed for us from the time we were children? I think a lot has changed for children itself today because the children, we don't allow our children to get bored. The word boredom itself has become a terrible word, but boredom can be a great disruptor. I'm going to tell you why. If you think back, if you know these incidents, and I know we all know these incidents because we've studied them. When did Archimedes get his great insight? When he was having a bath in a tub of water and he ran off saying Eureka, Eureka in all his glory, so to speak, through the city. What was happening then? He was having a bath. His conscious mind was switched off. His subconscious had taken over. How was gravity discovered? It was when an apple fell down and when the discoverer was sitting down in a garden, bored, I hope, or letting his subconscious mind work for him. Albert Einstein wrote 4 of his most groundbreaking papers when he was working as a patents clerk, which is, I think, some of the most boring work that you can do. So boredom helped him then. Agatha Christie famously said, the best story ideas come to you when you're doing the dishes. What does this tell us? This tells us there's a merit to getting bored. I don't say encourage yourself to get bored, but there is a merit to getting bored, which we ignore in our pursuit of being busy all the time. What I believe is trying not to get bored is something that we are pursuing more than we're trying to find solutions. When you're constantly working on something, what happens? Your brain switches off. You reach a wall. You cannot find what you want. As a writer, I have found that my best plot solutions have come to me when I'm not thinking of it. When I'm totally distracted doing something completely different, that's when it comes to me. That's when the answer arrives. And when it does, it's so perfect, it's so tried, it's like I would have been planning it out. So give your mind a chance, think creatively, let boredom happen to you. Why do we not let boredom happen to us? What is it about boredom? See, the University of Lancashire had two groups of people do different tasks. One group was given a very mind-numbingly boring task. I think it was copying numbers from a telephone book. The other group was not given any particularly any task at all. But the group, and after that, they were asked to do something in which they had to find a solution to getting things done. The group that had done the boring task came up with the most innovative solutions, and the group which had done nothing tried to do things the tried and tested way. What does boredom do? It helps your subconscious make a leap. It helps you go beyond what is obvious to you in your mind. When you turn the problem inside, when you let it marinate, when you let it rest, when you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to think of it tomorrow. I'm not going to try and get an answer right now. You turn it over to the inner circuits of your brain. Your brain works even when you're not thinking about it. That's how disruption happens. That's how innovative solutions come about. That's that is the disruption we need in this VUCA world. That is the disruption that comes from within us that we don't often consider. I think we undervalue the disruption that we can bring to our situation, uh, to our problems, to our queries, when we are not going inside ourselves. And how do you go inside yourself? You let your brain go on autopilot. How does your brain go on autopilot? It goes on autopilot when you're doing boring, repetitive stuff, when you're not allowing yourself to get constantly stimulated. Now, the greatest thing that has changed in the modern world is constant need for stimulation. And what gives it to us? This little thing here, this device here. I think all of us are guilty of being slaves to our phones. The little dopamine hits that we get constantly, they're distracting. Earlier, we had the 3-minute threshold before we lost interest in anything. Today, we have a 45-second threshold. What does it do? It doesn't allow you to go deep into anything. It doesn't allow your brain to get bored. It doesn't allow your subconscious to peak out. You're constantly in the here and now. You're constantly being stimulated. You're constantly being compelled to respond, compelled to check. How does this affect your creativity? You're not going deep down enough. You're just going on the surface level of things. A lot of artists, a lot of writers, a lot of creative people, they prefer to cut themselves off completely from the world, from all stimulus. Why is that? I write at a desk which faces an empty wall. There's nothing on my desk except a little jar of pens and a diary. Nothing. Cutting out stimulation is what will feed the subconscious, which is what will create new solutions, which will bring out new ideas, new thoughts, new processes, things that you never thought could be possible before. The thing is, are you ready to get bored? Are you ready to challenge yourself and to take that risk? Why are we scared of getting bored? I think this is something we should all examine, we should all think about, we should all really, really, really understand that boredom is not our enemy. Our enemy is this desire to be constantly stimulated, constantly needing another hit, another dopamine hit to our brains. If we let ourselves get bored and get bored often enough, we can often find all the solutions we want. All I say is take the leap, enjoy the pandemic, enjoy the lockdown, let yourself get bored. It will surprise you. It will surprise you in ways you never ever thought possible. Thank you so much.